Hey guys, good morning. I hope you can hear me well. Let me just put this over here. So we're out of music again. And by the way, hello everyone. I hope you guys are doing fine. I know I haven't been around here for a while, but it's okay. You don't have to be upset about that. Oh my God. Anyway, so we'll see what gold is gonna do today. Yeah, see what gold is going to do today. So I'm currently in this long trade. And I'd like to see this 15-minute bullish fair value gap here on the 830 candle be respected, meaning that we still have 2 more minutes until this current 15-minute candle is going to close, and I'd like to see that candle close right back inside that bullish FVG. Not sure if that's going to happen. My stop loss is not that big though. We do have a lot of sell side here at the bodies of these candles, which is, the bodies of the candles at the low of Asia session, at the low of London session. We'll see, however. I was quite trusting this bullish setup, especially because of the momentum that we had on silver here coming in after taking out the sell side liquidity over here, and also after tapping into the true day open, and it applies for both pairs. True day open tapping here, so 12 midnight New York. So I'm trusting the setup more from the perspective of the the bullishness that I've seen on silver. But however, I would like to see gold reclaim, or not reclaim, but sort of like not invalidate this bullish fair value gap here at 830. We'll see what happens in the next 1 minute or so, because that's when the candle is going to close. So yeah. Inefficiencies, that's the part of it. Inefficiency, very strong. At this point, I wouldn't want to see the 947 bearish FVG be reclaimed, because I do consider that as a bullish inversion. And if you're wondering about the, first presented fair value gap or stuff like that, it's, all the way up here, 935. We haven't tapped into that. So yeah, we'll see what happens next. Anyway, stop loss very tight. Stop loss is very tight, not necessarily from the perspective of the number of pips, because it is like 125 pips, but it is quite tight because on Top Step, which is what I'm currently trading on Top Step nowadays, you're not allowed to open more than one. I mean, I'm not allowed to open more than one micro contract on MGC, on micro gold futures. They say you're supposed to be able to open 2 micro contracts, but I'm only able to open 1. Yeah, you can see bearish momentum incoming here. I might see my stop loss being taken out, and if that happens, I'll just let it be. We might sweep this sell side around here. I'll see. but I'm still trusting gold's ability to go up and take out that daily high that I was talking about yesterday. I can also see a lot of, it's this bearish SMT divergence here at the bodies of the candles on the daily chart are pretty obvious. However, there isn't anything confirmed yet because you guys know, in order for me to consider that um, that an SMT divergence at highs is valid, I need to see that confirmed by 1 hour bearish fair value gap, and we have not had that. I don't see any bearish FVG here on gold on the 1 hour chart. There is a bearish FVG, however, on silver on the 6 p.m. candle. However, I wouldn't necessarily want to see it on silver because silver is the weaker one in this case. Because silver is, it seems to be failing to go above that high, but we'll see if that's the case. Anyway, so even if price will slightly continue to go lower, I'm still going to look for long opportunities. We could potentially sweep all the sell side over here. And like I said, I'm pretty much unfazed by potentially my stop loss being taken out because it's only going to be like 120 bucks because I'm only able to open one micro contract, and that's what I have opened on this trade right now. So it's not like that's going to be a lot. $125. That's what I have in the game at this point. So I don't know if you guys missed me, but like I can tell that some of you did, which it it was a surprise to me because, and the reason I'm saying this is because I've noticed some of you sending me DMs on Instagram and on Telegram asking me when I'm going to resume the live sessions. So that's pretty cool. I wasn't actually expecting you guys would miss me. Like, anyway. Yeah. So yeah, we did have this buy side liquidity being taken out here, and then you can see that price closed back inside the range. But we'll see what the dynamics is going to be. It's interesting to see that we're still not rejecting from this 1 hour unicorn bear over here. Let me go ahead and show you guys. So we had a bullish fair value gap here on February 3rd at 8 p.m. on the 1 hour chart. And then we've inversed that with the 9 a.m. Bearish FVG on Wednesday, February 4th. You can see the rejection we had from there and this one. And then we've came back over there and sort of like broke above it. And right now, price is just managing to somehow stay above that area. We'll see. I'm just gonna mark this. New week open gap high for anyone who doesn't know what I'm marking here. New week opening gap low, new week opening gap high. By the way, can you guys still hear me? Because I did something and I'm not sure if you can still hear me. Okay, you can still hear me. That's good. Okay, let's see if we're going to catch up on some bullish momentum here. I do like the way this bullish candle closed, 10:05 on the 5 minutes chart. It would make a lot of sense to break above the 955 swing high with momentum, with bullish FVG, and I would definitely not like to see silver stay behind. So I'd like to see silver catch up on that same type of momentum, or it doesn't really matter. I would also be happy if silver will drop down, sweep all that sell side liquidity, and then as silver starts to reject from there, we're going to see gold expanding higher, breaking above this high. So at the same time, when silver would reject from those lows being swept, we would see gold continuing to break higher, creating higher highs. That would also be cute. But in the meantime, let's just see if, let's just see if gold is actually gonna do that, break higher. Yeah, I'm not really sure you guys are seeing what I would like you to see right now, but I'm doing my best to show you my gig in here. Just hold on. Hmm. Yeah, I think now you're seeing what you're supposed to see, what I wanted you to see in the first place. Okay. I'm not sure if I can make this smaller though. No, I don't think I can. Because I would have wanted for you to also continue to see my trading view properly, but it is what it is. Yeah, you're gonna have to do like that. Yeah, it's just meandering around. It's not really looking very promising just because it's in this range.
Order filled.
Okay, so currently sitting at 1 hour. Uh, I don't really like I would not want to see price reject from this 15-minute busy that I would say that it inversed at this point. This one at the one at 8:30. I'm gonna mark it as an inversion, and but I wouldn't like to see price respected as an inversion. So if I'm gonna see it, start to create a bearish order block or something like that, I'm not gonna be really happy about it. Might actually collapse my trade. Doesn't matter, my stop loss is that small. Because leverage is leverage, and you still, if I can avoid a loss, why not? And as for the New York True Open, which is 7:30 a.m., we did go high, we did go low, swept the sell side at this small little consolidation here, pre 7:30, and then went above it, and then went back inside that range. And right now we're just hovering around that true New York Open price. It would be ideal if gold would be able to close above it, even with a 1-minute candle, but I would like to see a firm candle body closing above that level, back above that level, the open price at 7:30 a.m. You can see silver being quite stuck at the 50% level of this last bearish leg. You know, the dominant move that occurred after market open. Gold is not there yet. So what's going to make me get out of this trade is going to be if this current 1 minute candle is going to have a body closure under 1022. I'm just going to put my stop loss to break even if that happens. Yeah, that happened. Okay, I'll just go break even. I want gold to be the stronger pair, so that means that it should not want to sweep sell side. It should only make pullbacks just to, you know, rebalance small time frame imbalances over here, like 30 seconds, 15 seconds, and then continue to push higher. Silver should be the one to be in charge of taking sell side to then use it, you know, to pair it with smart money short order, long orders, and then continue to push higher. But I wouldn't want to see gold do the same thing. And if gold will do that, if it's going to start creating, you know, lower lows, even here on the 1 minute, lower lows, like under here, okay, lower lows, lower highs, then it means I shouldn't be in this long trade anyway. Can you please explain quarterly theory with sessions? I'm confused. It's actually very, very simple, okay? Yeah, you can see price, you know, not really playing by how I would want it to play, but anyway, I'm locked at break even, so that should be fine. So quarterly theory with sessions, it's really simple, and it's really, really logic. Like if you think about it, you have the following things. So there is just a few things that you need to remember. The first thing that you need to remember is that you have multiple time frame quarters. Okay, you have a monthly quarter. Okay, which is basically the weeks of each month. Okay, week 1 of the month it's Q1. The second week of the month is Q2. Third week of the month is Q3, and then fourth week of the month is Q4. Then you have So these are monthly quarters, okay? Every month split into weekly quarters, right? So the monthly quarters, monthly Qs. Okay.
Order filled.
Order filled. My stop loss got hit. So I'm break even. I was break even. That's totally okay. Here it is. $2 in drawdown. Okay, I'll just wait and see what price we'll want to do next. I did have this 15-second bullish order block marked in here, which it didn't come in there yet. It also had created these relatively equal lows here as a little sell side. I'll see if it rejects from here, and I might actually re-enter this trade. Hold on, I'll get back to explaining what I was telling you guys about. For now, let me just see if I can actually pull this back up. Okay.
Order filled.
Going long again. This time with a much smaller stop loss, just 87 pips. As opposed to 125, which was the previous one. Okay, so got stop at break even with the first one. Now let's see if this one's going to do anything. So you guys can see we have that bullish order block here on the 15 seconds chart over here. Price created these relatively equal lows just above that order block. And right now it came down to take that out, you know, tap the plus OB. And seem to be rejecting, seem to be creating a bullish imbalance, which is quite okay, which is over here. Still did not create like a bullish breaker. So I'd like to see this level taken out. Okay, so my current trade looks sort of like this. And this one got stopped at a break even. So I'm just going to remove it from there. Yeah, not sure it wants to leave those lows without taking them out. We'll see. Anyway, so let's get back to the what I was explaining. The quarterly theory on with sessions. So we have 4 quarters, right? That's the most important part that you need to remember. 4 quarters on each level that you could think of. And as day traders, short-term traders, scalpers, whatever you identify yourself to be, you don't need yearly quarters. You don't need quadrennial quarters, which is just basically every 4 years, a quarter that takes actually a cycle that takes 4 years, where Q2, quadrennial Q2 is election year, and obviously quadrennial Q1 would be the year before elections, whatever. Anyway, so we have 4 monthly quarters, which are basically the weeks of each month. Then we have weekly quarters, which are basically Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Friday doesn't count as a weekly quarter. Then we have daily quarters, which are basically the sessions, okay? We have Q1, which is Asia, which is basically from 6 p.m. till 12 midnight. Then you've got London, which is basically 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. Then you've got your third daily quarter, which is New York AM session, which is 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. And then obviously you got the New York PM session, which is 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. And my stop loss was taken out. So minus 80 something, 87, whatever. Okay. Okay, I'm probably, I mean, likely it would be a better idea to wait for price to have a reaction. You know, take out all these lows and see whether we're going to see any reaction from there. So we're talking current New York low, and then we're talking London low, and then we're talking possibly Asia low, even though, to be honest with you, I wouldn't want to see it go all the way down there. But we'll see. Okay, so these are the daily quarters, right? And then you have to think in terms of like each session, because you know the daily quarters are your sessions: Asia session, London session, New York AM, and then New York PM. And then with every session, which obviously takes 6 hours because a trading day has 24 hours. If you split that to 4, if you divide that into 4 quarters of, you know, equal hours each, you're going to get daily quarters of 6 hours each. So now if you take each session and you split it into 4, so 6 divided by 4, you're going to get 90-minute quarters, 90-minute cycles, which are basically every session split into 90-minute chunks, which is what you see here on my chart. You see Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. Those are basically 90-minute quarters. And what you see here with these rectangles, you see a gray rectangle, that's Asia session, 6 hours. You see a pink one, that's London session, 6 hours. Then you see a green one, that's AM session, and then you're going to see a blue one, which is going to be PM session. And there you go. Yeah. Very bearish gold, but that's fine. I'm under $100 in drawdown today. Now, if you guys are going to think about trading quarters, you have to keep in mind that trading a quarter really depends on whether you're going to have SMT and whether that SMT is going to be confirmed. Hold on. I'll get right back. Just give me a second. Okay, guys, sorry for that. Okay, so let's go back to explaining what I was explaining here. Where was that? Here it is. Okay, so you have these quarters, right? And then you could think, like I said, 90-minute quarters, which are basically each session split into 4 times 90-minute quarters, okay? And then obviously you have micro quarters, which is each 90-minute quarter split into 4 22.5-minute smaller quarters, okay? The catch about trading quarters, it's pairing them with SMT. Like, for example, at this point, we have daily Q2, which is London session. And then we have daily Q3, which is the ongoing New York AM session. And we have that on both pairs, okay? And this is for silver. London, and then we've got currently ongoing New York AM session. Let's say we would not have seen silver take out the low of the London session. It did, but let's imagine we would have seen silver creating a higher low, and we would have seen gold creating a lower low. In that case, if after gold would take out that session low, and it would start to reject by creating a bullish fair value gap on the relevant time frame. In this case, whenever you're trading daily quarters, SMTs, you want that to be confirmed. You want that SMT to be confirmed by an M15 fair value gap. Obviously, every quarter and every SMT that occurs at every quarter will have to be confirmed by a fair value gap that occurs on a relevant time frame, okay? So if we're trading daily quarters, SMTs, we will need to wait for those to be confirmed by a 15-minute bullish fair value gap in this case, okay? Okay, let me just remove these around here. And obviously, if you'd be trading weekly quarters, you'd need that SMT on the weekly quarters to be confirmed on another time frame by creating a fair value gap. If you would be trading 90-minute quarters, you would need that SMT to be confirmed by a fair value gap that forms on another time frame, and so on. Okay, so each quarter with their relevant time frames. And then once that fair value gap forms, you basically have the confirmation that your SMT is telling you, is confirming to you that price will likely reverse. And if you're trading that on Q2 or Q3, which is the ideal quarters trade, you're going to have a very, very easy, easy time to make sense of everything and, trade profitably. What I'm seeing at this point is yeah, I like this. I'm going to give this trade one more try. But I would like to see silver take out this little high here on the 15 seconds chart. If it doesn't, I'm not really interested for now. And if you're asking why, if you're wondering why, it's because we have this SMT over here, where we had silver take out the lowest low of Q2 on the 15 seconds chart. And then we had gold not taking out the lowest low of Q2 on the 15 seconds chart. So I will give my trade one more try. But at the same time, I'm going to pay attention to not having an SMT on the 15 seconds at the highs, because we are currently in a 5-minute bullish FVG.
Order filled.
One more try. Na, 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 na. Okay, you can see this time my stop loss is a bit more serious. Just because the range sort of like increased. But I'm not really expecting gold to come back under this low over here. And if that happens, so I don't want to be in a trade, obviously. Okay, so giving my trade one more try, last one for today. And if it's going to take me out, it's going to take me out. It is what it is. Midpoint of that previous candle. So sort of like around here. I'm actually not really sure of my stop loss being placed here, because usually whenever we have this type of SMT, where gold is the one making like higher low, the second low is usually going to be taking out, the higher low is usually going to be taking out. And then price is actually continuing to push higher. I'm going to try to adjust my stop loss based on this, because it would be really stupid to have my stop loss there only for price to take it out and then continue to push higher. So I'm just going to put it slightly under this slightly under the candle that created this bearish FVG here, which then was inverted. Okay, I think it's better if I show you here in trading view than on top step. Here it is. So I brought my stop loss slightly under that candle, which is around here. Okay. You know, I used to look at 6-hour quarters. 6-hour time frame. If I'd be looking at this, it wouldn't really go in the favor of my long. Looking at the 6-hour chart, it's actually really useful whenever you want to determine whether you're in an XAMD profile or you're in an AMDX profile. So we're going to take these, oh my God, these last 3 candles, with this being the first candle, candle 1, which is Asia, okay? Then we have candle 2, this one, and we have candle 3, this one, which is the current 3 6-hour quarters that price has created so far in this trading day. And I would definitely say that London was an accumulation. If we're thinking that on New York AM session, price swept the high of London and then it went down for the low, broke the low, it would make more sense to look for the high being manipulated and then for the low being a break of structure with the, you know, a pullback, waiting for a pullback higher, and then a continuation to the low of the Asia session and potentially to this new week opening gap, which is this area over here that I've marked. But we'll see what occurs next. The most annoying part with trading Top Step, I would say, is the fact that you can't really add custom indicators to their trading platform, Top Step X. It's really annoying. So we're gonna have CPI on Friday. That's gonna be interesting to watch. Really interesting to watch. Oh, this is wrongly marked here. It's London low, not Asia low. Baby Mir asking if that's a good confluence SMT with quarterly theory. Which one are you talking about, buddy? I believe you're talking about the 6-hour one where we had silver taking out Asia session low as well, but not gold. I believe that's the one you're talking about. It is a good confluence. However, what should end up happening is wait for that SMT to be confirmed by a 15-minute bullish fair value gap. Because like I said, if we're trading or if we're seeing sequential SMT, so basically SMT in between 2 quarters, and if you're seeing that, where are we at this, okay? Higher low, lower low on silver. The good part is that gold is the stronger one in here, or at least so it seems currently, because it's the one not going lower so far. Obviously, this could still be a pullback, which means that it could eventually still continue to push lower. And with every decision to take a trade, you just have to make sure that you're okay with the potential loss. So a good confluence would have been to wait for a 15-minute bullish fair value gap to form. Actually, the proper confluence, the proper confirmation that this SMT is currently valid. That would have been the proper way to do it. Right now, looking at how things look like, right? We've also had gold closing above the high of the Asia session, the body especially, also closing above the bodies of the and also the wick of London kill zone high, which that did not occur with silver. You can see that silver is failing, where it failed to create a higher high close in regards to the bodies of the candles here on the London session 6-hour quarter, also on the Asia session 6-hour quarter. Oh, actually, that one's up here. So we do have that unsynchronization, if you will, in between these two pairs. This obviously has been confirmed by gold creating a bearish 15-minute fair value gap, which is basically the fair value gap that was created at 9:45. So we had an SMT divergence in between Q1, Q2, and Q3, 6 hours, which was confirmed by a 15-minute bearish FVG. This one. And then we had price rebalancing that and then pushing lower. Technically speaking, the drawn liquidity at this point, whenever we're talking about if daily quarters SMT confirmed by a 15-minute fair value gap, technically the drawn liquidity is basically a daily low. So a daily low that has not been untapped and obviously cannot be the current daily low. It would basically mean that price is likely coming to the low of yesterday's Asia, like so. Okay, it's nice SMT at the micro lows currently in here. Q1 with Q2, but I would really want to see this be confirmed. Need a confirmation on this by creating a bullish FVG right now in the 1 minute. Especially on silver, I would like to see that because silver is the one taking out sell side. So you want to see silver being the one willing to use the sell side that it just took out under this low to pair it with smart money long orders. And you want to see that currently on the 1 minute chart. So micro quarters SMT confirmed by 1 minute fair value gap in the opposite direction of where price is sweeping liquidity. So if we had sell side being swept for now, this is how I'm interpreting this. Sell side sweeping in here. I would like to see silver, which is the one that was sweeping. I'd like to see it push higher, close back above this level that it just broke out of, that it just broke under, especially and preferably close back inside the range made by the bodies of the candles, not necessarily by the wicks, and then create a bullish fair value gap on the 1 minute. That would be a great confirmation. But of course, it could reject from this 5-minute bearish fair value gap. I don't know. We will see. That's why it's so important to read candles as they print. Because it also like sort of like inverted this fair value gap here, you know, closed above it, came inside it, and then sort of like looked as if it was going higher, but eventually it's just reclaiming, it reclaimed that fair value gap back. So we'll see, but right now this looks pretty cool. It looks pretty okay. Especially what I'm liking about it is the fact that from a micro quarters perspective, the manipulation, if this ought to be confirmed as a manipulation, is occurring on the second quarter, micro Q2, which is basically the manipulation usually. So we had accumulation, manipulation, accumulation, manipulation, confirming by a bullish FVG on the 1 minute. And then we'd have distribution with Q3, and then reversal or continuation with Q4. What I also like about it is that this is currently happening on Q4, 90-minute quarters Q4, which basically is usually continuation or reversal. Now, if we think about the fact that a reversal occurs anytime price takes out an old low, so we had taken out London session low in here, and then we also took out Asia session low. So these, from a 1 minute perspective, these are old lows. So taking those out, now it would make a lot of sense for price to reverse to the upside, because that's where reversal usually happens at after taking out old lows and sweeping liquidity, or old highs if we're talking about reversal from going up into going down. Yeah, you can right now see, even though it could look promising, but I'm not seeing any bullish fair value gap being formed right now on the 1 minute. But I am definitely happy with my stop loss placement, because based on the 15 seconds, like I said, price usually tends to come and take out the higher low of the pair that created the higher low of the SMT, which in this case was gold. So I had that low and then this low, so higher lows. And on silver, we had that low and this low, which were lower lows. So that was the SMT on the 15 seconds. And you can see gold came down, took out that low, and then it stayed inside this 15-second bullish inversion. And we had silver, as gold was going down inside that 15-second bullish inversion, silver was actually taking out this swing low over here, and right now seems to be rejecting off of it. We'll see if the rejection will continue. Like I said, I really want to see a bullish FVG forming. Okay, I believe we do have a bullish FVG forming here on silver. It's the 1111. Even though it's not that visible. I would have wanted that to be a lot more visible. And we have 1112 on gold. Okay, let's see. You can see it came really close to my stop loss in here. Quite close. I would have loved to see the same bullish FVG being created on silver on the futures contract, but I don't have any BISI over there. That's a little bit annoying, not necessarily concerning, but annoying. And right now I could definitely bring my stop loss under this low over here. Because at least in theory, we had this BISI being created here on the 1 minute 1040. Price slightly touched it, then rejected, and then came back inside it, sweeping that little low and then going higher. And that's another thing that you will usually see occurring. So I have a double rejection, double tap and double rejection from this bullish FVG here. Which would make no sense for price to still want to come down and take out that low. Unless it would act as a sell side sweep, because we still have this SMT divergence where we have gold creating a higher low. But before doing that, it would make a lot of sense to at least break this high and probably going to a slightly higher time frame target. I'd like to see it reach at least into this 5-minute CB at 10:25. Ma'am, view on pipe and what? I don't know what you're trying to say, buddy. I have no idea. Okay, guys, you can see that silver is pretty much extending, continuing to extend lower. Which means it's really unwilling to reject, unwilling to use the sell side, to use it with smart money long orders, at least for now. That's all. Yeah, and you can see again gold doing the same thing as it did a little earlier, taking out the low that created the higher low, like taking out the higher low. So right now it's really interesting and really important what it's going to do next. It would have been great if silver would not have taken out this low, because it already sort of like showed one time a slight willingness to reject from after taking sell side here. And it should have respected that low. The fact that it's not respecting it, it's not really giving me that much confidence that we're going to see it starting to push higher right now. I'm really trusting more in a bearish continuation at this point. Also, the SPICY that was created here on gold 1112. Look at the weight that was inverted. And it's being retested right now. If we're going to see price starting to continue to create bearish candles, we're definitely going to go to yesterday's low. But there's definitely not a lot of momentum right now in the market, so hey, do you have any Telegram groups where we can bounce ideas off each other? I'm looking for some trading friends. Yes, I actually do have a Telegram group. I actually have a Telegram channel which is public where I usually post stuff, but you can't really talk to anyone there because it's just a channel. And then there is a private a private Telegram group where I only have the people from my private mentorship. I think there aren't really a lot of communities where you're gonna find someone putting a lot of time and effort into a public group, because you know we all have the same 24 hours within a day, and we would all love to have more. um, so that makes many of us. The thing is that with public groups, you're going to get a lot of people asking a lot of questions, and many times, more often than not, the majority of the people inside that public group are not going to be people seriously interested in what you have to say, or people seriously interested in what you're teaching. So it's like answering a lot of questions coming from people from a public group. It's like, I'm really sorry to say this, but honestly, it's like a waste of time, because 90% of the things that you're going to say there are not going to be of anyone's interest. So instead of me having like a public group, I rather have, where people would get to talk, like just another public group. Who needs that? Who needs just another public group, honestly? Because there are just so many everywhere, so many Discord, so many Telegrams, so many this, so many that. And it's just a distraction when you get tens, hundreds, even thousands of people into the same group talking about the same topic, all with different views, all with different opinions, all with different, uh, you know, understanding. It's going to be just a lot of distraction, not just for the person administering, or not just for the admin of the group, but also for the members inside the group. So I just don't want to be the cause of another Telegram public group or another public Discord that's just going to distract people more and more. So if there's anyone interested in knowing directly from me, directly learning how I trade, if someone really feels, attracted to the way I trade, if they want to understand more, I have these live sessions doing them. People, you guys are free to ask me whatever you want to ask me. And if time permits, and as time permits during these sessions, live streams, I'm just gonna do my best to answer all your questions. And for those who are really interested in learning the way I trade in depth, there's always that place for very serious people where, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I want to be incentivized to spend extra time to teach people about stuff that is in depth. And obviously, we're in this industry, like the incentive of this industry is always money. We trade for money. We trade for the freedom that the money can bring. And if I were to teach someone, I'm going to do it for free during, or, inside or during these live streams. And then if someone wants more in-depth value or more personalized attention from me, then there's always the private part, where I just want to protect my time as much as possible and dedicate that time. to people who are actually really dedicated. Not to someone, you know, just having casual questions about this and that and then never using it or stuff like that. Because it's just a waste of energy for me and for them. Yeah, there's like today has been such a, you know, slow day, painful day. Right now, in hindsight, I can definitely see where I could have gone short on this piece of price action over here. But I guess I was too zoomed in on longs and I missed the opportunity. We did have price inversing this 15-minute bullish fair value gap at 8:30 with it inversed it with the 9:45 candle, and then with 10:15 went up in there, and if we drop down to the 1 minute, we'll see it made a nice bearish SMT divergence where we had the Q3 high being taken out by Q4 high micro quarters, which are in here at the bottom of the chart. So we had gold creating a higher high, silver creating a lower high. And then we had that SMT divergence on the 1 minute, on the micro quarters, inside a 15-minute PD array, which was basically the inversion fair value gap. And then we had that confirmed by bearish fair value gaps on the 1 minute. So we had the 1025 bearish FVG forming. And then we had the 1029 bearish FVG forming, which basically nicely closed under this area here and turned that into a change in state of delivery, market structure shift, bearish breaker, bearish order block, whatever you want to call it. It's basically what I had, where I had a long from, I think it was from this bullish inversion. And I said that if price will close under here, I'm going to collapse the trade, and it's exactly what I did. However, I did not consider looking to see if I have an opposite direction confirmation, which we did have that, and that trade would have looked like this. So we had this break with that bearish fair value gap and then a tap into the fair value gap and a rejection. So price did this, trade would have looked like this, and targeting low of the London session, which would have been a 2R. Now, considering I can only open one micro contract on gold futures, I would have had a $100 stop loss and a $200 take profit. Not a lot, but you know, definitely a lot better than being $200, 87, almost $100, like in drawdown at this point. Anyway. You know, live streams are really a good way to connect with people. Really, really a good way to connect with people. And also a good way to talk about the way I'm trading out loud. Because believe it or not, that's really helpful to talk about the way I trade out loud. Because it also makes me see the judgment flaws that I'm falling a victim of. We definitely have a weak silver here. Definitely silver is the weaker one. Yeah, guys, I think I'm gonna call it a day, you know. Yeah, I'm gonna call it a day. Let this trade see what happens. And I'll come back tomorrow. Probably the whole week is gonna be weird price action because of Friday CPI. So I guess in a way I mean in all the ways it's probably good that Top Step has reduced the lot size limits. Anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you for being here. If you learned something, it would really help me, and it's a, you know, simple thing for you to do, but it would really help me if you could hit the thumbs up button, and you know, if there is someone who you'd like to share my live streams with, just go ahead and do it. Like I said, it's going to help me a lot, especially, and also knowing that you guys find value in these live streams, and I'm just going to keep on doing them. And we're just going to keep on growing together and perfect our trading skills together. So until tomorrow, I'll talk to you guys next time, and take care. Bye.